Nikki, when are you going to get back home from shopping?
I just came out of the store a second ago. I'm going to stop by the dry cleaners now, and I'll be on my way home. So that shouldn't take me too much longer, okay?
So you're still not on your way home yet? Don't you think that you're taking a little too long with all of that? I just asked for a few things and you told me that you'd only be getting groceries there.
I'm sorry about that, Beth. The things that you asked me to find for you at the supermarket were pretty hard for me to find. So I had to go try out another store where I was lucky enough to find what you'd asked me for.
But I'm telling you that all of that took you way too much time to do. As a wife, you need to do better at using your time in a more efficient way. It's almost been 3 hours now since you left the house. That's a huge waste of time.
Alright, I'll try better next time. I had to stop at the gas station to get more gas for the car on the way out, but I promised to be quicker about things like that.
That's right. Tomorrow morning I'll be going with some friends to the spa, so let me have the car for the day. I won't be home until later that evening, so that'll be the perfect time for you to get all my laundry done, as well as cleaning my whole room.
I'm sorry, but I have to go to the hospital tomorrow.
Are you going again for your skin or something?
Yes.
Is there even any reason for you to still be going in for that? I can tell you right now that nasty skin of yours is never going to get any better.
But if I don't go in to see my specialist, then they're not going to continue to give me the medicine I need. And I have to stay on that medicine now since I've already been on it for a year now.
But what I'm saying is that even with the medicine you're getting, your skin has still not gotten any better. If it was getting better, then I'd be fine with you going in again. But I'm saying that since it's been a long time now and nothing seemed to have changed with you, there's no need in wasting time with those doctors.
But if I don't continue to use the medicine that I'm on, my skin will go back to being even worse than it is now. It'll become way more itchy as well, and I won't be able to focus with how annoying the itchiness gets.
Even if your skin is to go back to being worse than it is now, it's not going to change the fact that you're ugly. Nobody even cares about how you look now. You're better off just letting your skin fester.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I've always been a bit too blunt with what I have to say. But your skin is all rashy and gross, right? Well, people with skin that's nasty like yours will never be able to make it as a pretty woman. So I'd say that you should quit wasting time and money trying to achieve the impossible, and put that time towards focusing on me.
Well, the reason for my skin being this way is due to a disease I have. Even if I want it to go away, the actual healing process takes a long time. And it's not likely that I'll ever get rid of it perfectly. The goal is just to try and keep the medicine in me so that it'll stop looking as raw and I can be out in the sun more.
Well, that's nothing I really care to know about. Either way, tomorrow, you going to the hospital is going to have to wait until after I'm back from the spa. If you can respect me right now, then I'll continue to allow you to be married to my son. Knowing that, you'll respect my demand, right?
Understood.
I don't even know why I'm having to talk to you about this right now. But you need to make sure to take our relationship a bit more seriously, okay? Remember that everything that has to do with me comes before anything that has to do with you. That's how things are supposed to be when your mother-in-law is living in the same house as you.
Alright, I'll make sure to be more careful from now on.
And as for that skin condition you have, that disease can't be spread to anyone else, right?
That's right. Technically, it has all to do with my own immune system, so it isn't like some virus that can be spread to anyone through water or blood.
Today, when having a look at my son's face, I noticed a spot that started to turn pretty red.
Perhaps that had something to do with the face wash he used last night not going so well for him. He told me he was trying out a new one to see if it'd work.
Well, if that's all that it is, then I'd be happy. Because of you, I have to explain all of this stuff in detail to everyone around the neighborhood. It's really such a pain for me. Always asking me what's happened to my son's wife's face all the time. That's all I ever hear from people now.
I'm sorry that you have to blame me for that.
If you feel sorry for what you're doing to me with that skin of yours, then maybe find a way to fix it. I always stay up late wondering why my son had to marry a deformed woman like you. If my husband was still alive, he'd never let my son marry a monster like you.
But from what I've heard, my father-in-law would have worried more about the person I am inside than about my looks.
Well, he was the kind of man that thought about people's hearts and judged them that way. He was even nice enough to bring that dirty dog into our house to live. That poor thing should have died out on the streets, but he made sure it had a home and family to be loved by. But just because he had such a sweet heart doesn't mean he'd be okay with a monster in the family.
Beth, I should be home sooner than later, right? I really need to get going to the dry cleaners now, so I think we should call it a day.
What? You still haven't went over there yet?
I have to drive the car, and so I can't be texting you and driving. I just plan to finish up our conversation and then head out towards the dry cleaners.
If that was the case, then you should have told me that sooner. You're not only ugly looking, but you have zero common sense. Now, hurry up and get going. Hey, ugly duckling. Where are you at right now?
Huh? Are you calling me an ugly duckling now?
Who else would I be calling that? Are there any other people on your end of the phone that are worse looking than you? So, can you tell me why you're not home right now?
I'm out right now with my husband getting something to eat.
Huh? And you just leave me here at home?
I'm sorry, but you told us that you had plans to go out shopping with your friends and that you'd be having lunch with all of them.
My friends had some things come up on their end, and so I had to come back home. And I just thought I could come home and have something to eat here. Why did you leave the house without thinking of me? If you guys had plans, you should have let me know about them first.
I'm sorry.
This isn't the kind of problem where you can just apologize your way out of. Come back home this instant.
Okay, I'll let my husband know that.
Wait, you don't have to go telling my son about this.
Huh? But it was him that drove us out to eat, so...
You let my son take his time to eat whatever he'd like while he's already out of the house. You're the only one that I'm asking to have come home.
The both of us came here in one car, so I can't just leave him here while I come back home.
I really cannot use this family's ugly duckling for anything, can I? For times like this, where you plan to go out without telling me, at least to make up some dishes in case I have to be home.
I'm sorry, I didn't think I'd need to make anything for you today, though. But if you don't mind, there's some boxes of mac and cheese in the cupboard that you can make up.
You're asking me to eat mac and cheese now? And worse than that, you want me to make it all by myself? You really are the worst wife ever.
Is that wrong of me to ask you that?
You know very well that that is wrong of you. I am fed up with you trying to make this whole situation into some kind of joke. I've had enough now. I'll call and order some delivery. From now on, though, if you're going to be going out to mess around, make sure I have a meal ready for me to eat in the fridge.
Okay.
Ever since you came into my house, my stress has been through the roof. I assumed that you living with me would make my life easier, but... an ugly, no common sense, useless wife. I wonder if it's time for me to find my son a better wife to get married to.
I promise that I'll try even harder now to do what I can to make sure that you'll respect me more. So please do not say things like that about us.
Then hurry up and become a proper wife that I'll be willing to respect. You had to start at an even lower rank than most other women because of your gross sickness, so you'll have to work even harder for me. If you want me to like you, bow to me and do as I've asked. Ugly duckling, have I heard that you've become pregnant?
Huh? Why do you ask that?
Because there are some magazines in your room talking about life being pregnant.
You went into our room? I remember asking you to never go in there without our permission a while back.
You left your room's door wide open, so I walked by. I caught a glimpse of the magazines.
Is that so?
So, are you pregnant or not?
I am. I was waiting for a good time to come and tell you the news about becoming pregnant.
Is that right? But I'd like you to stop.
Huh?
What the hell would I do if you gave birth to a child that looked like you? I would never be able to love a grandchild with skin as disgusting as yours.
Beth, what are you saying right now?
I'm asking you to get rid of that child for me.
Asking something like that gives me good reason to become upset with you. I'm having my baby whether you like it or not.
But what'll happen if the baby ends up with your looks? A baby with a gross face and nasty skin is never going to be cute. No matter if they're a girl or a boy, their life will be ruined right from the start.
The chances of the baby getting the same disease as me are very low. And even with this kind of sickness, I'm completely happy with the way I've turned out.
That's only because you've realized early on that you're an ugly duckling. Normal people would never be able to live happily when their skin looks like it's been burned multiple times. That's right, there will be a memorial for my husband soon, and so a lot of my family and friends will be coming. And during that time, I'll let them all have a good look at your face. You never had a wedding for us, so they all don't know quite yet the extent of how bad your skin looks. They're all going to be shocked when they see you in person.
I don't care that they'll come and see me. I've been trying to hide my skin from anyone in the first place.
I'm so looking forward to that memorial. When they all have a good look at you and start calling you ugly and gross, you'll understand to give up on having that baby. None of them, and I mean none of them, will think it's okay for an ugly child with the looks of you to be born. But before something like that has to happen to you, I'd rethink your stupid choice of going through with having the baby, or else you'll have to live through that hell. Ugly duckling, where are you at right now?
I don't think it's necessary for me to tell you where.
Now you're going to start talking back to me again? You just got up and left in the middle of the ceremony, and now I can't find you anywhere to ask that you apologize to me.
I ran off because you stood there right in front of everyone, and instead of talking about your husband's passing, you started going off about my face and skin. I don't mind that everyone can see me in the skin I have, but standing in front of them and making fun of my disease is a whole different matter.
The only person that should be upset right now is me. It's because of that gross face of yours that all of my family and friends have left. It's because they all felt sick to their stomachs that they weren't even able to eat the food that had been prepared for all of them.
That's what you'd like to think, right?
You'd better be ready to pay for all this wasted food for me. All of this amazing food going to waste because of some ugly girl that hasn't learned her place. I can't stand having a wife like you married to my son anymore. Get out of my family.
Are you sure that's okay? Having me leave your family?
Of course it's okay for you to get lost. I cannot stand the look of your skin any longer. At least now that you won't be around me anymore, you can give birth to that messed up child. But just make sure you divorce my son before that happens. I'm going to find him a healthier and far more beautiful woman that he can marry in your place.
Beth, you really are so much of a fool that you can't even begin to see the troubles that you're creating today.
Huh? You're calling your own mother-in-law a fool just like that?
I am. You are the perfect example of what an absolute dunce looks like. Why would you happen to fit the description so well, Beth? Well, that's because by kicking me out of the house, your son will be leaving as well. Neither of us will be around to care for you anymore, and you'll be on your own to make sure that you can stay happy and alive.
There's no way my own son would throw me away that easily. I am the mother that raised him since birth and made him the man he's become.
Even if you are his mom, you just made enemies with his wife after bullying her and then asked that she doesn't give birth to her baby because she believes it will turn out to be a monster. Your son told me he doesn't want to be around you anymore. He said that just now.
Huh? Right now my son is with you?
Yes. After leaving the house when you started to make fun of me, he came chasing after me to see that I was okay. And it wasn't just him that came to see me, but also a lot of the family and friends that were inside that came out to make sure I was okay.
Huh? They're all with you as well now?
Right now, we've gone out to have lunch at a different location.
Why? They should have all gone home and left you, right?
They were all worried about me, so my husband told them where we were at.
Why would they all worry about some ugly duckling?
You really have no clue, do you? The only reason everyone started leaving that place was because you started to act like a monster when you kept making fun of me and my disease. It wasn't my skin or my face that put them all off. It was all due to how black and malformed your character is.
There's no freaking way I'd be the one that made them all leave. They've all known about me way longer than you. Why would any of them choose to be on the side of some new wife who looks like a soggy napkin?
Maybe it's because they've known you so long that they were disgusted by how you acted today. This is what happens when the person people thought they knew turns out to be a jerk and a bully. Everyone told me that it was unbelievable that someone they knew so closely would make fun of someone's sickness. So I think that most of the friends and family will no longer be talking to you.
You're lying, right?
This is not a lie at all. I think them all leaving that place without even eating a bite of the food you prepared is the perfect evidence to back up what's happened.
You tell all of my family and friends to get back here right now.
Why would I do that?
Because they all need to know the truth.
What truth?
That I was only joking about your face as a way of lifting the mood surrounding my husband's passing. Tell them all that right now.
Even if I do tell them it was just a joke, I think they'll understand how inappropriate it was. They knew that all you said was inappropriate, and that's why they left.
Are you okay with the way things are right now?
I am. Nothing is bothering me about the way things have ended up.
All right then. If the ugly duckling can tell all my family and friends that it was just a friendly joke, then I'll let you continue to be my son's wife. You told me you'd do your best to gain my respect, right?
I don't need your respect anymore, Beth. You told me to give up on having my baby. So ever since then, I've given up on worrying about what you think of me.
Then you're saying you're completely fine with getting divorced from my son?
Having you respect me or not, and the relationship I have with my husband are two completely separate things. Your son is even telling me he plans to cut all ties with you now, and soon we'll be out of that house for you. Just think of the two of us as strangers from now, okay?
Hold it right there, you! I am not going to allow you to do that.
And so what, Beth? I couldn't care less what you think of this. We are leaving. Someone like you judging us and trying to give your opinion has nothing to do with me.
But can we at least have a chance to discuss in further detail what happens next?
We're not going to discuss anything anymore. Us choosing to leave that house has been set in stone now.
You are both living with me now, so you can't just leave without my say.
But we can, Beth. We sure as hell can. I remember just a little bit ago you saying you wanted me out of the house, right? So I'm doing just as you've asked, and I'm leaving.
That was just because you made all the family and friends leave without eating anything. I was just in a really bad mood then. Right now, I don't believe that you have to leave my house.
Whether it was just you getting upset or not at that time, that doesn't change the bigger picture. I'm not going to remain your punching bag any longer.
I'll apologize for what happened. Let's just forget about what happened today, okay?
What do you mean, what's happened this time?
I'm talking about how I made fun of you in front of everyone today. Look, I've apologized now, so you can explain to all of them what's happened, okay?
Your son and I cutting ties with you doesn't just have to do with what's happened today, though, Beth. This is all due to months and months of you being a real jerk. A monster, even. And besides, there was something I really can't forgive you for, and that's when you told me to give up on my baby. I'm the only one that knows best about my disease and what it all entails. But for some reason, you act as though you know better than me, and that's what's made me so upset now. Yet even though I'm the one that knows myself best, you came and told me that I shouldn't have a baby because of your own selfish concerns.
I'm just really worried about you guys.
Do not throw the word worried at me as though you actually cared more about me and my baby over yourself. If anything, it looked like you were having fun while harassing me.
I was not having fun back then. I was just being blunt with you about what I thought. I can't keep all my emotions in when it comes to caring about my son's wife, okay?
So you're saying I should forgive you because you're a natural bully then? If you wanted to help me by saying those things, then maybe you should have tried a little harder to understand me first before acting that way.
Alright, I get it now. I was wrong about everything. I'm sorry for making fun of your gross skin. And as for your kid, I won't say anything else about them. So please stop talking about cutting ties with me. Now please just forgive me for all of that.
I will not be forgiving you.
I just freaking apologized to you, though. Why can't you just be nice to me and just forgive what's been done?
I'm not sure if that was a real apology, and it seems to me you still haven't learned from your mistakes yet. I'm not going to be seeing you anymore after this, so there's no point in asking for my forgiveness now.
Hey, I'm trying to call my son right now, but he's not picking up the phone. And as for my family and friends, none of them will reply to me either.
That's because everyone is agreeing to block you for good. I plan to do the exact same thing as them, so I'll be going now.
Wait, I promise that I will properly apologize to you in person. Please, Nikki. Please do not throw me away like the rest of them have. My husband is long gone now, so you'll just be leaving me all on my own.
If you are regretting what's all happened now, use your time by yourself to understand that this was all due to you being a selfish prick. I don't want to deal with someone like you anymore.
I'm so sorry. I really am sorry for what I've done and have learned from it all. So I promise that I'll never ever say or do anything to hurt you ever again.
No matter what you try and make me believe, the feelings my husband and I have for you are no longer able to be changed. I think the most ugly people on this planet are those that think it's okay to make fun of other people's health issues, just like you have. You've really made a huge fool of yourself these past few months. So now that you'll have nobody around you anymore, take that time to fix the monster you've become. After that, we finished having lunch with all the family and friends that came to support me, and then once we'd finished, I went back to my parents' house. Because I am carrying a baby now, I didn't know what Beth would do to me if I'd had gone back to her house, and so being at my parents' is the safest choice. And as for packing my things up at Beth's house, my husband and some of the family went and made sure that the move out would be smooth for me. And as they were all there packing my things up, Beth sat in the corner crying her eyes out while asking my husband to forgive her for what she'd done. Of course, my husband wasn't going to fall for any of her crap, and so he never said a word to her, and that was his last time ever seeing her before he'd left. Beth has tried time and time again to ask where we'd run off to and for the address, but everyone kept their mouths shut and never said a word to her. And luckily for that, my time being pregnant has gone uninterrupted by her, and that's been the most relaxing thing for me. I think it's amazing that her starting to bully me for the way my skin and face looked came all the way to her losing literally everyone in the family and all her friends just a few months later. Now, she may be the worst person to be around with a heart of black tar, but I am thankful that she gave birth to a generous and loving son. But besides that, there is nothing about that woman that's worth anyone being thankful for. And now that we've decided to cut ties with her, if she ever does run into us again, we'll look the other way and offer no help to her. I did hear, though, that after we had all left her, she was stuck alone in that house for quite some time. People around did say that they never managed to see her for months, but that one day she did come out, but was thin as a twig. The last thing I've heard about her since then, though, is that the following day an ambulance arrived at her house, and she was taken to a nearby hospital to never be seen again. We drove by her house once to see if she'd ever gone home, but by that point another family was in the house, and it had been remodeled to a more modern look. A little while has passed since then, and I've been fortunate enough to give a safe birth to my child, with no problems whatsoever. Not only that, but the baby came out without the disease that I carry and seems to be in 100% perfect shape. Life from now on will be tough having to both raise and educate a little person, but having my husband around me still will make my life a whole lot easier than it was back at Beth's house. Even now, I am going to continue to be thankful for all those that have stayed by my side and helped me, and I will do my best to stay happy as I carry on with my life. It's only natural that in life you'll run into a few people that want to pick on you, but it's also because of them that one's heart can become even stronger. And after dealing with Beth, I'd like to say that my heart is as strong as a lion.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
James, how had Mom been doing?
I think she's been doing the same as always. And actually, I've been at her house since last week. For the past few days, nothing with her has really changed all too much.
I see, but recently Mom hasn't been answering her phone at all. I'm a little bit worried about her.
And thankfully, I'm living close to her house, so I can be here anytime to check up on her if need be.
That's right. This time when she broke her bone, I was shocked. It was hard on me because I'm too far away from her right now to just get up and go see her, so I'm happy that you and your wife are close enough to get there in time. Thank you, James.
You're really that thankful of me?
I am. Having you and your wife over there has helped me relax quite a bit.
Well, if that's the case, I'd really like you to show me your thanks in a more physical way.
James, have you forgotten just how many times my husband has taken care of you? I feel like all he's done for you could make all of this even.
I'm sorry about that. I was just joking.
I hope so. But back to Mom. I'm glad to see that she's gotten well enough now where she can get back up and walk small distances again. At her age, most people that suffer an injury like that usually end up in the wheelchair for good.
Well, you have a point.
I guess I still am a little bit worried about how Mom's been doing. I think I'll go back to her house for a little while. I know that you can't be there all the time, right? You have work yourself.
I'm fine. I'm sure it would be too difficult for you to come over to Mom's house and take care of her by yourself, right? And when it comes to Dad, he's too old and fragile now to help support her.
I guess he's not in the state to be of any help either, huh? He's already told us before that he's pretty close to needing to be put in a home.
So I really don't think you should be coming over to their house when you need someone like me to help out still. To be honest though, Dad's not wrong by thinking that a home would be better for them. They have the money to afford such a place. Do you think it would be such a bad thing to have those two put in a retirement home?
No, I think that would be all right for them. Actually, having them in a home like that would make me feel a bit more comfortable about me not being around them all the time. There will be all the nurses and pros there as well to help them instead of two amateurs like us. But when it comes to my father-in-law, he doesn't seem to think retirement homes are all that great, and that he'd much rather be in his own house.
Huh? He's just being hard-headed, that guy. I'm sure having to deal with your in-laws is a pain for you, right?
They are pains to deal with, but they are old enough now where I only have a few more years to take care of them, and so I want to make them as happy as possible. But anyway, back to Mom and her condition. I'm just worried.
Mom has told me plenty of times now that she's well enough to pick up things herself again and walk around slowly. And actually, my wife and I have been thinking about moving back in with Mom and Dad.
What? You and your wife? Is Kay really all right with something like that?
Well, it's not like Kay has anything against Mom and Dad, and she's already told me she wouldn't mind being in their house, just as long as there's still some privacy.
Is that right? I always thought of her as being the type of person that would never want to live with her parents, or ours.
I was thinking the same thing about her, but I guess we were both wrong.
Well, I guess by having you and Kay living with Mom and Dad, it would make everyone in the family feel a whole lot better.
Right? Even Mom is really looking forward to us moving in.
But is this really going to be all right for all of you? I think it really takes a lot of time to get used to living back with your parents again, especially for someone like Kay. I'm sure you'll be able to get used to that life fairly quickly, but with Kay, I'm not sure she'll really like it all that much.
If she really does start to think that she's not liking it, we'll move out. But to start, we're both going to give it a try at least. I at least would like to be living in Mom and Dad's house again, up until her legs are all good again. It would be the best thing for those two.
I guess if you're willing to move out when things get too difficult, that's not too bad. If all of you are okay with doing something like that, then I have no complaints about it. And I'm very thankful for you both stepping in to do something like that.
Well, we both happen to be all right moving back in with him, so leave all of this to us. As for yourself, good luck taking care of your father-in-law.
Thank you, James. You were always a bit of a screw-up in the past, but I guess you've changed a lot since then. Everyone was a bit worried about how you'd turn out as you became an adult. Always thinking about how you were going to manage yourself and if you'd ever find yourself a wife or not.
I think you're beginning to talk too much now.
I'm sorry.
But I do have both Kay and Mom to thank for the way things turned out for me.
As long as you keep being thankful to them for that, then you'll be fine. Well then, with Mom, please and thank you. And tell Kay I say thanks as well.
Ari, do you have time to talk?
What's going on, James?
Well, this is about living in the house with Mom. I think Kay and I will be moving out of here by next month.
What? By next month? Did something happen between you guys and her?
Well, it's not that living here together with her and Dad has been bad for us, but rather Mom is saying she would like to enter a retirement home.
Really? But hasn't her leg healed by now?
Well, she's not wanting to go into one for support, but rather to be there for all the nice foods they serve and to have people her age to talk to. That's why she's willing to pay a little extra to go into a nicer residence.
Is that right? But why so sudden?
She's been talking about how the house is getting old and that there are too many steps in it. And then at one of the recent meetings she went to, she heard about this new home that's been built, which is more like a resort than anything else. So she'd like to move in there and be supported by people her age while having fun. So I wanted to let you know that this is what she's wanted to do.
I suppose that house of hers is really old, and there are more steps in it than most homes have. It probably is better that she goes into a proper retirement home before things become too difficult for her.
I think it's better that way.
Well, I'm just happy for the past month you and Kay have been there with her and Dad. You both at least got to see what it was like to live with her and be there as her support full time. It's not like there were any problems living in the same house as her and Dad, right?
Yeah, both Mom and Kay especially seem to get along pretty well together under the same roof. Of course, I'm sure Kay has been a little nervous about some things.
Well, as long as it wasn't too stressful for you both, then it wasn't time wasted. And if you both really hated living in that place together with Mom and Dad, then I'm sure you both could have just moved out at any time and leave them be, right?
Well, I guess so.
I'm totally okay with her moving into a retirement home then. She wants to live there after all, it seems. And she'll have people her age to talk with again and support from the staff.
All right, I'm going to get started on the paperwork then.
Thank you for doing that, James. Is there anything you need me to do?
Actually, about the rent. Mom and Dad have the money for the home, but it's way too expensive for those two to live there long term. How much those two have currently, they may only last a year.
That's a good point. How much are you going to need?
$1,000 to start per month would help. I'm sure if she wanted to go to an older location, it would be a whole lot cheaper, but this place is brand new and offers a lot more.
$1,000, huh? I guess I'll send it over. This can make up for all the time I haven't been there to help out. All right, I'll send $1,000 per month.
Is that all right?
Well, you and Kay have been doing a lot more of the harder work there, right? So please, let me pay that amount.
Sure. Well, I'm sorry to have had to ask that, but thank you.
No worries. I'm thankful that you and Kay tried living with and supporting Mom and Dad for a bit. Anyway, once you have the breakdown of the costs and things like that, send it to me.
How has your husband's dad been doing?
Well, actually, I'm not sure he'll be around too much longer. The doctors even said he's getting close.
I see. Well, good luck with things over there.
Thank you. My husband will be home soon, so I have to get dinner going. As for you, please take good care of Mom this last month with her. James, I would like to talk with Mom.
Then go right ahead.
But she doesn't seem to be answering any of the calls.
Well, she never really looks at her phone, does she?
Hey, can you tell me the number for the retirement home she's living at? I would like to call them and ask if they can hand the phone to her.
I think I told you their number before, right?
And after giving that number a call a few times, I wasn't able to get anyone to answer. I think you made a mistake with that number.
I don't think so.
I really am not able to get a hold of anyone on the other end. And after looking up the name of the place, it didn't come up anywhere online. Are Mom and Dad really in a retirement home right now?
What are you saying? You know they both are. They are still in a new location, so perhaps they don't have a homepage or anything like that yet.
Then would you be able to head over to that place for me? Then I can give you a call and you can hand the phone off to Mom. You told me the location is close to Mom and Dad's house, right?
Well, look, I'm at work right now. Can I do that for you after?
Then when you're out of work, you head right over to that retirement home for me.
That's if I'm able to get out of work early today.
Mom is doing all right, right?
She is.
When was the last time you met with her and Dad?
I can't remember. Maybe last month? Mom seemed to be having a blast at that place. She told me she didn't have any problems with the place and was treated kindly by everyone.
Are you sure?
Why are you getting so worked up right now? You're being a bit rude.
Well, I haven't been able to get in touch with Mom for the past month now.
And that's because you've been busy with your husband's father's funeral, right? Mom is not some child, all right? So just let her be happy where she's living. You were getting too worried about nothing right now.
Next week, I'm going to be coming back to town.
What?
Well, I'm not having to look after my father-in-law anymore. And I'd really like to see how Mom and Dad are doing in person.
I told you everything is fine here. You're going to have to come by airplane, right? You were just here 3 months ago, and you want to fly back again? What a waste of money.
My husband said it would be fine. And since I'm no longer bound down by his father, he said I can go back to my hometown for a bit and see you all.
But coming back home now of all times?
What do you mean by that?
I don't want you coming back to Mom and Dad's house. This is my house now. And Kay is telling me that if you come back here for a while, she'd have to deal with you.
I don't have to come back to that house. I'm only there to see Mom and Dad, really, so I can get a hotel. So don't worry about me being back in town.
We are taking good care of both Mom and Dad.
And I want to see that for myself. Also, I just want to see Mom again.
All right. You'll be coming next week, right?
Yes.
Understood. I'll let Mom know that and try to get her to call you back. Ari, this is about Mom. She's told me that she doesn't want you coming back to town next week.
Why doesn't she want me coming?
She's told me that at the retirement home she's in, there's a bad case of the flu going around and she doesn't want you to get it. And actually, the staff there have asked for visitors to stay away for the time being because of it.
Well, then maybe we should be getting Mom out of there for a little while. She's able to leave that place to go out whenever she wants, right?
No, Mom isn't doing too well herself. That's why she really doesn't want you to come back to town right now.
I've had enough of this, James. I'm going to stop sending that $1,000 every month.
Huh? Why would you do that? That's the money paying for Mom and Dad to be in that home, right? Do you plan to get both of them kicked out of there?
Retirement home? Mom is living in a park right now with Dad.
What are you talking about? Why would her and Dad be living in a park?
Because you kicked those two out of their own house. The last time I had been texting you about what was going on here, I was already on my way home.
What?
I got a call from my friend saying she saw Mom and Dad both living in a park together downtown. After that, I told my husband and took off to come home. And that's why you've started to text me right now about how she doesn't want me coming home. You don't want me finding out what's happened to the both of them. Nice try lying to me about how there was a flu outbreak at their retirement home.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
I've already found out this much about your lie, and you're still going to try and hide? I am with Mom right now as we speak. She has been telling me all about how you and Kay kicked her and Dad out of the house. And yet for the past few months, I've been sending you $1,000. What's all that about? I was sending you that money for Mom and Dad, yet you've been using it on yourself? I am going to make you pay for all this BS, James.
Such a pain in the butt. Whatever, I don't need your $1,000. I already have this old house now, so I'll just sell it and take the money from that. You were finally able to free yourself from your husband's old man, and now you've had to find out about this? Well, good luck taking care of Mom and Dad for me, please. Kay and I don't have it in us to care for the elderly. So, there you go.
James, you are such a bastard. Don't tell me this is all about you getting into debt again.
This has nothing to do with you.
I think it frickin' does, James. Did you forget about how we had to help you pay off your debts the last time you got into trouble? My husband sent you $10,000. And after giving you that much, you promised us you'd never be in debt again like that.
Shut the hell up, Ari. I forget about the past all the time.
You haven't changed at all then, have you? I can't believe I thought you had gotten better and were no longer a screw-up. I am such an idiot. I'm going to get that house back from you.
Huh? I'm not sure it'll be allowed back in this house now. Now, let's be honest. This place is old, so it'll only sell for a couple thousand at best.
And I don't want you getting any of that money because you don't deserve it. Also, that house is under Mom's name anyway.
But Mom's signature is too easy to forge.
You'd really do that?
I would.
Bet.
Huh?
I don't think you'd ever be able to do that and get away with it.
Why do you think that?
Well, let's just say I've always been aware of what might happen to you after your first time with trouble. And during the time you'd been away from Mom and Dad, I had always been talking to her about what might happen when you got into borrowing money again. So after a few discussions, Mom made a very smart decision and changed the name on that house to mine.
What the hell did you think you guys were doing? You come over here right now and sign these forms for me.
You think I'm going to listen to you? I'm not going to let you have that house.
Well, then, I'll sign these documents under your name anyway. I'm sure nobody will care if they forged, right? Even Kay is telling me that nobody is going to believe you if you try disputing it, because I've been the one living here.
You are both the worst. Good luck trying that, because I'm already 2 steps ahead of you. You're not getting any money from us. Not Mom, not Dad, not myself.
Ari, you are more of an idiot than I thought. No matter how hard you try to dispute what I'm doing, I'm the oldest sibling, and I've been the one living in this house for a month now, so I have the right to this place. I saw this sort of stuff in the drama recently. Even if you do manage to get this house from me, I still have an ace in the hole, and that's my inheritance.
Really? Then I'll have Mom and Dad take you out of their will, so forget about that.
Huh?
You think that just because you're their son, you'll automatically get their money when they pass? That's not how it works. If the person who passes away happens to write a will before their death, then that will is legally followed by a lawyer and nothing can be done about it. So after all the things you've done to the both of them, they have said they will be taking your name out of their wills for good. Mom said that she's already been working on it, right after the moment you kicked her out of the house with Dad. You aren't getting a single thing from either one of them, James, so it's game over.
Are you sure?
Look it up. I'm sure that Kay is already freaking out about this and looking it up as we speak.
Ari, I wasn't trying to be mean to Mom and Dad when I kicked them out of the house.
Of course not. You just wanted money, right? Well, it's pretty freaking insane to think that you'd kick both Mom and Dad out of their own house just for more money.
I was in huge trouble at the time. I had already been fired from my job and, well, there was so much money I owed.
So you really did get yourself into some major debt again.
I tried asking Mom to help me out, but she told me there was no second chances. And when she told me that, I freaked.
What you've done this time is not going to be forgiven by any of us. I was so worried about Mom's injury healing up fine, and a month later she's out in a park living with Dad? I cannot believe this, James. Are you even family to us? After talking to Mom about this, she told me that she never texted or called me because she didn't want to bother me. She said that her and Dad just needed to endure.
I'll apologize to Mom and Dad for this, and of course I'll apologize to you too. So please, don't have Mom and Dad take me out of their wheels. I'm sure after selling this house, I can make things work out for myself.
You are not getting any money from any of us, and that includes from selling that house, which isn't even yours. We are finished being your family, jerk.
Ari, please. I made some mistakes. I promise that after this time, I'll never owe money again. I'll make sure to put more effort into working. Give me just one more chance, please? Please.
You had your last chance and you wasted it. Now you're going to have to face reality.
Right now, Kay and I are in a terrible situation. If we can't get any more money from you, we can't live in this house anymore, what's going to happen to us? Right now, the loan sharks are waiting for the money.
And who cares? I don't give a frick about what's happened to you two. Mom, Dad, and myself are done with you, and we hope those loan sharks make an example of you both now. And when it comes to a place to live, you have places all around you. You had Mom and Dad go live in a park for a while now, so why not give that a try, huh? I think you both need to go find yourself a nice tree to sleep under out here, and then you won't have to pay for any housing. After that, both my parents took James right out of their wills, and then the three of us went back to my mom and dad's house and kicked him and his wife out. Of course, the three of us couldn't do it alone, but with the help of some friends in the neighborhood, we got rid of them. After doing that, we had a lot of the furniture within the house sold, as well as the house itself. James and Kay had tried coming to us asking for forgiveness, begging for it. But after having kicked my mom and dad out of their own house, after getting into debt once again, there was no way in hell we'd forgive them. The rest of the family wants to make sure those two pay for what they did to Mom and Dad by having them get a taste of their own medicine. After saying goodbye to them for good, we all blocked their phone numbers, and since then don't really know what's happened to them. But whether they are able to find a way to pay off those loans or not, I'm sure they'll end up living one of the worst lives possible together. As for my mom and dad, they both moved out to where my husband and I have been living and moved into a retirement home near us. Now, being closer to the both of them, I'll be able to come to their aid immediately if need be. But, of course, they are both actually in a home now, so I'm sure the staff and such will be there to care for them, even better than I'd be able to. However, I'm going to be going there a lot still to check up on them, as I don't ever want what happened to them before to happen ever again. I want for both my mom and dad to enjoy the last years of their life in peace, surrounded by those who love them, and that's why I will always be in arm's reach, ready to support them.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.